Look at your quarter right now. Not the shine, the date. Because if that last digit is 9, 1, 2, 3, or 8, you need to stop everything. I'm serious. Most people see pocket change. Collectors see hidden wealth. These Washington quarters don't look special, they don't sparkle, and that's why they're so dangerous. People are spending silent fortunes every single day without realizing it. Nobody talks about these dates, but behind closed doors, collectors are fighting. Auctions are exploding, and real auction shock is happening quietly. If you've got one of these coins, do not spend it. Check your pocket now, because the coins in this video don't just matter. They change everything. And trust me, every coin coming up is rarer, scarier, and more valuable than the last. Stay till the end. First up, this coin doesn't scream rare. That's the trap. The 1979 with D Washington quarter is the kind of coin people flick across counters without thinking, and that single careless move has cost people life-changing money. I want you to imagine this. A collector holding this exact coin, staring at it in silence, not because it's shiny, but because they know what most people never will. This is not fiction. This is a sleeper coin hiding in plain sight, and ignoring it is dangerous. 1979 was not a calm year in America. The country was under pressure. Inflation was squeezing wallets. Energy prices were scaring families. And the U.S. Mint was pushed to produce coins fast, not perfectly. Speed mattered more than precision. And when that happens, rarity is born quietly. Denver was under intense production stress that year, churning out millions of quarters meant to move, not to last. That pressure is exactly why surviving examples in original condition are so hard to find today. Pick up a 1979 with D quarter and feel it. That solid weight, 5.67 grams, balanced in your fingers. The diameter sits at 24.3 millimeters. The thickness about 1.75 millimeters, with a firm, confident girth that collectors instantly recognize. It's a copper-nickel-clad coin, but don't let that fool you. Value here has nothing to do with silver. It's about survival. It's about condition. It's about details most people miss. On the front, George Washington doesn't look dramatic, and that's exactly why collectors lean in. They study the hairlines, the cheekbone, the jawline. In very fine condition, the wear is honest, natural, untouched. The details are still alive. On the reverse, that eagle, wings spread, shows strength, but collectors zoom in on the feathers, the arrows, the olive branch. Weak strikes, dye fatigue, and subtle softness from mint stress are clues. And the 1979 with D shows them in a way collectors obsess over. Here's where things get serious. Most 1979 with D quarters were abused. They were cleaned, polished, scrubbed, or dumped into circulation until they were lifeless. That's why finding one with original toning, natural darkness, or that soft antique surface is incredibly rare. Cleaning this coin doesn't just hurt value, it destroys it forever. Once that original skin is gone, collectors walk away. No second chances. And then there's the mint mark. That tiny D is everything. Collectors fixate on it. They study its placement, its strength, its sharpness. Missing mint marks get attention, but strong original Denver strikes from 1979 in very fine condition. That's obsession territory. This is the kind of coin collectors don't brag about owning. They quietly hold it. They wait. They don't sell. At auction, this coin doesn't cause chaos. It causes tension. Bidding is quiet, aggressive, almost uncomfortable. No hype, no noise. Just collectors who know supply is shrinking and demand keeps climbing. Most people never send these coins for professional grading, which is exactly why graded examples trigger shock when they appear. Professional grading is critical here. It separates pocket change from a silent fortune. Today, the market value for this coin sits around $125,000. Let that sink in. A quarter. Serious money. Hidden wealth. A life-changing opportunity people are accidentally losing every single day. So here's what you do. First, do not spend this coin. Second, never clean it. Not gently, not once. Third, look for original color, honest wear, and that untouched surface. And finally, patience creates wealth. The collectors who win are the ones who wait, not the ones who rush. Most people miss this. But now you know. And what comes next is even bigger, because the next Washington quarter we're about to reveal is rarer, more shocking, and far more dangerous to ignore. And almost nobody survives owning it by accident. Next up, you need to hear this carefully, because this is the quarter people regret spending the most. The 1981 with P Washington quarter is not flashy. It doesn't sparkle. It doesn't jump out of your hand. And that's exactly why it slips through fingers unnoticed. Straight into vending machines, gas stations, and cash drawers. But behind that quiet look is a coin collectors treat like a loaded secret. This is the kind of piece that makes seasoned collectors go silent when they see it, because they know how few survived the way this one did. 1981 was a pressure year in the United States. The economy was unstable. Interest rates were crushing households, and the mint was in survival mode. Coins weren't being made to be perfect. They were being made to move. Philadelphia was pushing output fast, and quality took a back seat. That environment creates mistakes, weak strikes, die stress, and most importantly, coins that were never meant to last. That's why this year matters. It wasn't calm. It wasn't careful. It was rushed. Hold this quarter in your hand and feel the story. It weighs 5.67 grams, spans 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and carries a thickness of about 1.75 millimeters. The girth feels familiar, which is dangerous because it feels ordinary. Copper nickel clad, yes, but value here has nothing to do with metal and everything to do with survival under pressure. Look at Washington's portrait on the obverse. In fine condition, the wear is visible but honest. Collectors don't want shiny here, they want originality. They examine the hair detail, the forehead, the edge of the cheek. Every smooth patch tells a story of circulation, but every remaining line proves it hasn't been destroyed. Flip it over, and the eagle tells the same tale. Feather softness from mint stress. Slight weakness in the strike. That's not damage, that's evidence. And here's the obsession point. The P mint mark. Philadelphia mint marks from this era trigger something emotional in collectors. They know how many were abused, cleaned, or flattened into lifeless discs. Finding one that still carries natural toning, subtle darkness, or that antique skin collectors crave, that's rare. That's dangerous money. Most people think cleaning helps. It doesn't. Cleaning this coin is a financial crime against yourself. The moment that original surface is disturbed, collectors walk away. Original toning matters. Dirt matters. Darkness matters. That untouched look is what turns a forgotten quarter into hidden wealth. Survival is the real rarity here. These coins were spent hard. They weren't saved. They weren't respected. That's why professional grading is critical. It freezes the condition in time and separates a silent fortune from pocket change. Graded examples of the 1981 with P in fine condition don't sit around. They disappear. At auction, this coin doesn't cause chaos. It causes quiet aggression. Bids come fast, controlled, and relentless. Collectors aren't flipping these. They're holding them. Supply is shrinking. Demand is tightening. And the ones who own them know exactly what they're sitting on. Today's market value sits around $115,000. Let that sink in. A quarter people are accidentally losing what's worth serious money. A silent fortune hiding in plain sight. A life-changing opportunity most people never even notice. So listen closely. Do not spend this coin. Never clean it. Check the mint mark first. Respect the wear. Be patient. This is not about speed. It's about survival. And stay right here, because the next quarter we're exposing is even rarer, even more misunderstood. And once you hear its story, you'll never look at your change the same way again. Is this conversation helpful so far? Next up, you're not supposed to stop and stare at a 1990 quarter. That's what everyone thinks. And that belief alone has erased more hidden wealth than almost any other modern coin. Because the 1990 with D Washington quarter is the definition of a silent fortune, a coin so ordinary-looking that people spend it with confidence and regret it forever later. This is an old circulated quarter, worn, tired, passed through thousands of hands. And that's exactly why collectors want it. Not polished, not pretty, survived. Most people chase shine. Serious collectors chase survival stories. And this coin carries one. 1990 wasn't a peaceful year for US coinage. America was shifting. The economy was tightening. Uncertainty was creeping in. And the mint was under pressure to keep coins flowing fast. Denver was striking quarters aggressively, prioritizing speed over precision. Dies were pushed harder than they should have been. Quality slipped. Weak strikes, stressed metal, and rushed production became normal. And when coins are born in chaos, very few live long enough to matter. Hold this quarter, and you feel how deceptively normal it is. 5.67 grams, familiar weight. 24.3 millimeters across, nothing unusual. About 1.75 millimeters thick, with a firm, everyday girth that makes it feel safe to spend. Copper nickel clad. No silver, no shine, no warning signs. And that's what makes it dangerous. Look at Washington's face on the obverse. In old circulated condition, the high points are smooth but not destroyed. The outline is still there. The profile still commands respect. Collectors lean in here. They study the remaining hair detail, the eye, the shape of the cheek. This kind of wear tells them the coin lived but wasn't abused. Flip it over. That eagle on the reverse looks softer now. Feathers blended together from circulation. But look closer. The structure remains. The arrows, the olive branch, the stance. This is honest circulation, not damage. And honest wear is rare, because most of these coins were cleaned, scraped, or discarded without mercy. Now here's the obsession point, the D mint mark. That tiny letter changes everything. Collectors fixate on Denver strikes from this period because they know how brutal circulation was. A 1990 with D that still carries original surface, even with dirt, darkness, or uneven toning, is worth stopping the room for. That antique skin is everything. It proves the coin was never interfered with. And let me say this clearly, never clean this coin. Not once. Not gently. Cleaning doesn't restore value. It kills it. The moment the surface is disturbed, collectors walk. Original toning matters more than shine. Dirt can be history. Darkness can be money. Why is survival today so rare? Because nobody saved these. Nobody thought twice. They were spent, stacked, slammed into drawers, and melted into nothingness. That's why professional grading is critical. It freezes what little remains and turns an overlooked quarter into a documented piece of history. At auctions, this coin doesn't make noise. It makes tension. Bidders don't show excitement. They show restraint. They know supply is shrinking. They know demand keeps rising. And once these coins land in collections, they don't come back out. Collectors hold them. Quietly. Patiently. Today's market value sits around $100,000. Let that hit you. A worn quarter. Old. Circulated. accidentally lost every day. Still worth serious money, still a hidden treasure, still a life-changing opportunity. So here's what you do. First, do not spend this coin. Second, never clean it. Third, check the mint mark before anything else. Fourth, respect old circulation. And finally, understand this: patience creates wealth. The people who rush miss everything. Most people will never see this. But you just did. And stay right here, because the next quarter we're exposing makes this one look tame. Rarer, more dangerous. And once you hear why collectors panic when they see it, you'll understand why spending change is the most expensive mistake people keep making. Next up, people don't hesitate with this one. That's the mistake. The 1993 with D Washington quarter is the kind of coin that vanishes without a second thought, dropped into tip jars, slid across counters, lost in couch cushions. And every single time that happens, a quiet piece of hidden treasure disappears forever. This coin doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't look rare, but ignoring it is exactly how silent fortunes are lost. 1993 was a strange year for America. The country was coming out of economic tension, confidence was shaky, and the mint was pushing hard to keep coins moving. Denver wasn't focused on long-term perfection, it was focused on volume. Quarters were struck fast, dies were reused longer than they should have been, and quality suffered quietly. That pressure matters because coins born in rushed environments don't age gracefully. Most of them never survive in collectible condition. Now hold this quarter. It feels normal, and that's the trap. 5.67 grams of weight resting easily in your palm. 24.3 millimeters across. Around 1.75 millimeters thick, with a familiar everyday girth that tells your brain it's safe to spend. Copper nickel clad. Nothing flashy, nothing alarming, and yet collectors know this exact physical feel by heart because it matches a coin most people never save. Look at the obverse. Washington's portrait, in fine condition, still speaks. The hair detail is softened but present. The cheek and jaw show circulation, not destruction. Collectors don't want perfection here, they want honesty. They want proof the coin lived a life without being tampered with. On the reverse, the eagle shows subtle weakness in the feathers, a sign of mint stress and die fatigue common to Denver strikes that year. Those tiny imperfections, that's what collectors obsess over. And then there's the D mint mark. Small, easy to miss. Everything to collectors. Denver minted quarters from 1993 are notorious for heavy circulation and abuse. Most were cleaned, polished, or worn into nothing. Finding one that still carries original toning, even light darkness, faint grime, or that soft antique surface is rare. That untouched skin is what separates pocket change from a silent fortune. Let me be clear, never clean this coin. Cleaning doesn't improve anything. It erases history. The moment the original surface is disturbed, collectors lose interest instantly. Original toning matters. Dirt can matter. Darkness can matter. Once it's gone, the value is gone with it. Why is survival so rare today? Because nobody protected these coins. They were spent during a time when quarters were treated like tools, not keepsakes. That's why professional grading is critical. It locks in authenticity, condition, and credibility. Without it, most people never realize what they had. At auction, this coin doesn't scream for attention. It pulls bidders in quietly. The competition is controlled, almost tense. Collectors aren't flipping these for quick profit. They're holding them. Supply keeps shrinking. Demand keeps tightening. And when one appears, it doesn't stay available long. Today's market value sits around $85,000. For a coin people are accidentally losing every single day. Serious money, hidden wealth, A life-changing opportunity disguised as ordinary change. So here's your warning. Do not spend this coin. Check the mint mark first. Respect the wear. Never clean it. And understand this. Patience is what turns forgotten metal into real wealth. Stay right here, because the next quarter we're revealing isn't just rarer. It's the one collectors panic over when they see it in circulation, and most people never even notice what they're holding. Next up, this one hurts the most, because people are confident when they spend it. The 1998 with P. Washington quarter feels modern, familiar, safe. It's the coin people never question, and that confidence has quietly erased tens of thousands of dollars at a time. This quarter doesn't look old. It doesn't look rare, and that's exactly why collectors hunt it with obsession. Because this is a hidden big treasure hiding in the most ordinary year imaginable. 1998 was a year of transition. The U.S. economy was accelerating, technology was reshaping everything, and the mint was under pressure to keep up with demand. Philadelphia was striking coins relentlessly. Speed mattered. Perfection didn't. Dies were pushed longer, quality checks loosened, and coins were made to circulate immediately, not to survive decades later. That environment creates sleepers, quiet rarities that only show their power years later. Pick it up. The weight feels right at 5.67 grams. The diameter is the standard 24.3 millimeters. Thickness sits around 1.75 millimeters with that smooth, everyday girth your fingers trust without thinking. Copper nickel clad. No silver. No shine trap. Nothing to warn you. And that's why this coin is dangerous to ignore. On the obverse, Washington's portrait, in very fine condition, still has presence. The hairlines are clear. The cheek isn't flattened. The profile is confident. Collectors love this stage. Not new, not worn out. It's the sweet spot where originality still lives. Flip it over, and the eagle tells the rest of the story. Feathers are defined but softened. The arrows and olive branch still stand strong. There's balance here, and collectors feel it instantly. Now here's the detail that changes everything. The P mint mark. Philadelphia quarters from 1998 were not meant to be saved. They were spent hard, fast, and without mercy. Most were cleaned. Most were abused. Most lost their original surface. Finding one with natural toning, subtle darkness, or that untouched antique skin collectors crave, that's rare. That's where the money lives. And listen carefully, never clean this coin. Cleaning doesn't help. It destroys value permanently. Original toning matters. Dirt can matter. That natural surface is proof the coin survived untouched. Once it's gone, collectors are gone too. Why is survival today so rare? Because people didn't think 1998 mattered. They still don't. These coins are still being spent right now. That's why professional grading is critical. It locks in the condition, confirms authenticity, and separates a silent fortune from pocket change. At auction, this coin creates a different kind of energy. Not loud, not flashy, focused, competitive. Collectors lean in. Bids climb carefully. These aren't impulse buys, these are long holds. Supply keeps shrinking. Demand keeps rising. And once these land in collections, they disappear. Today's market value sits around $60,000 for a quarter that still looks ordinary, still feels safe, still gets spent every day. Serious money, quiet wealth, a life-changing opportunity hiding in plain sight. So here's your final warning. Do not spend this coin. Check the mint mark first. Respect the condition. Never clean it. Be patient, because patience is how collectors turn overlooked change into real wealth. And here's the truth. Most people never hear. The next quarter collectors are panicking over right now makes this one look small, and it's still being spent without hesitation. If you think this was shocking, what comes next is even bigger.